Aloha mai, aloha no kako, and aloha. Ooh, I hope you feel as good as you look and sound, because you look and sound good to me. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome, one and all. Thank you for joining us tonight, for making this appointment at this iconic place, as we bid aloha oi to the late, great Dr. Jack Scaff, here tonight at Aloha Stadium in the Aloha state of Hawaii, which he declared back in 1960, don't you know, on the way to the Philippines on an assignment, was going to become his home, because he called it heaven on earth. Anybody agree with him? Come on now. Yeah. Well, my name is Joseph Teipel. Some people know me as Surfer Joe, the auctioneer, CEO of Auction Action and Connections of America. But a lot of us know each other because we were face to face for about a quarter century one day at the Honolulu Marathon finish line from 1991 to 2015. I was down there bringing some of you in there. Who ran the marathon during those days that I had to greet early in the morning through the midday into the afternoon, right? Yeah, after all, it's a people's race. Take your time, right? I noticed you did. Just kidding, just kidding. Well, after all, it's about the finisher's shirt, right? Yeah, you never noticed that? Even Carol Kai doesn't give out starter shirts. It's a bad business, yeah. More about this woman in red, not the one in the movie, but the one here live in a few minutes, okay? So, here we go on what may be the final event. Carol, don't you know, inside of Aloha Stadium, from the way things are. I don't know what the rest of you, but I was at the very first event here back in 1975. Was anybody here for that event? Anybody remember what it was? It was a political fundraiser for then Governor Ariyoshi, with a mere 55,000 people here. Biggest crowd they ever had. It was kind of fun to be at the opening and the closing of an iconic institution here in Hawaii. And of course it means a lot. There's a reason, right, Carol, that we're kind of doing it right here tonight. You'll explain a little bit more about that later on as we pay tribute to the way that he impacted our lives and give tribute to this late, great Dr. Jack Scaff. First up, ladies and gentlemen, is going to be their youngest son. And if you've been to some of their beer parties, you probably remember him from way back when he's a bouncing baby boy on their knees. I don't know if he ever was. He looks pretty tall to me. I think he was born tall. But Kavik is here to lead us all in our beginning toast. Could you please put your hands together, show some love for the one, the only Kavika Scaff, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome. Aloha. Here we go.
All right. Good evening, everybody. My name is Kavika Scaff, or as my father more affectionately referred to me as, the Little Prince. I do want to thank you all for coming out tonight and sharing tonight with us and celebrating his life. And on that note, please, if you would join me in raising a glass. This was one of his favorite toasts. Here's to the good ships. Here's to the wood ships. Here's to the ships that sail the seven seas. But the best ships, our friendships. So here's to you and me. Cheers, Pop.
That's all I got. A British number or an Irish? It's an German.
I asked Kavik if that was a British limerick, and I didn't really remember. Notice that Scaff is a German name, Deutschennamen. But I figured that the way they had those beer cake parties, it had to be Irish. I mean, after all, there's only one difference between an Irish wake and an Irish wedding. Right, Mark? One less drunk. Of course, you know what's Irish and stays out all night, right? Patio furniture. My next introduction needs no introduction, but I'm going to introduce her anyway. Because she is just one amazing human being. She's become synonymous over the decades, not the years, but the decades, with charitable giving. You remember her from way back when? Yeah, there's a few other people out there with wisdom grays like me. I remember hailing back to the days of the Hilton Hawaiian Village.
Oh my God.
Do you remember? No, she doesn't have to sing tonight. Then there came the Carol Kai bid race. Anybody entered that? Still alive? Right there. It was rough. Back then, it was, punching below the belt. That was a rough week. And then 39 years later, she will, once again, finishing here at this Aloha Stadium, maybe not inside, but outside, bring back the annual Great Aloha Run for its 39th running. A lady whose creed is give your passion to being good and doing good. Co-founder with Jack the co-founder with her, I should say, of the Great Aloha Run, your friend and mine. Give it up for the one and the only Miss Carol Kai to pay tribute here to Jack. Welcome, Carol.
You're just as handsome as you ever were. Hi, everybody. You know what? That is so wonderful of you to be here tonight to honor Jack. Because that man, I really miss it. He was a wonderful person. And I have to tell you, when I wanted to do the Great Aloha Run, I didn't know who to turn to. But I said, there's a man that lives on the top of Round Top, and he has a beautiful house, and I know he was really important in the area of running in Hawaii. And so I asked if I could go and meet Dr. Jack Scaff. He was bigger than life, and I went to his beautiful house with his beautiful wife, and I sat there, and he said, what do you want to talk to me about? And I said, please, can you help me to start a run? Because I don't know anything about runs, and you know everything about runs. And he said, get up. Oh, I can't get up. Oh my goodness. Anyway, so we used to meet quite a few times at his beautiful property on top of, is it called Round Top? Yes. Ah, beautiful property. Anyway, and he used to lecture me, but he helped me to start the Great Aloha Run. And because of his wonderful efforts, because of his kindness of his heart, although he was gruff to me, he said, get up off the floor. Because of him, we have been able to give over $16 million in 38 years to 150 organizations. And that is because of Dr. Jack Scaff. Because without Dr. Jack Scaff, I could not have done the Great Aloha Run because I am not able to get off the floor. And I'm not capable, but he helped me. He guided me, and he gave me all the tools necessary to help. And now with all of you here, I just want to say, can we all give Dr. Scaff a nice round of applause? I love you, Dr. Scaff. And I know that his wonderful wife is going to continue the Hawaii Sports Foundation, and the Great Aloha Run in its 39th year will give monies to this organization too. So God bless you all. Have a wonderful night.
Carol Kai. What a lady. What a lady. What a communitarian. And I probably shouldn't say this in public, but I mean, her husband was here, so when she got stuck down there, it wasn't just because he was here, but I didn't know what part of her to help up, you know? I mean, anyway, what a night, right, Mark?
Yes, sir.
Coming up, stand by, or sit by anyway. So ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank Kavika, our toaster, Carol Kai, our VIP guest speaker. We have more, we've got music, we've got tributes, And we have some things that you can attend to and become part of about keeping the legacy alive. So let me inform you about what's at your table. As we begin tonight's program, I'd like to call your attention to the tables on the sides of the celebration tent. There you'll find scrapbooks and displays filled with pictures that show so many of Jack's contributions to the community, as well as fun memories of gatherings at the Scaff home on Round Top. By show of hands, who went to any one of those gatherings over the many years? Wow. Feel sorry for the rest of you. Well, you'll have to catch up with the other ones at the table for stories about that. By the way, ladies and gentlemen, you're also going to see a bunch of pens on the table. Pins and pens. Okay, the pins are commemorating the Great Trans-Ko'olau Trek, a one-time 10-mile race across H3. By show of hands, who did that great event? I know Alex O'Neill was involved in that. There's a few survivors. All right. Is that what that? That's not the shirt. Does anybody have that shirt on, by the way? That'd be pretty iconic, wouldn't it? Not one? Mark's got a neat shirt on. You'll see more from him when he comes up here. Yeah, from 77. 1877. Yeah. No, we don't go that far back. The Scaff family would be happy if you took a pen with you at the end of the evening. Now, lastly, you're going to see Jack's book entitled, speaking of authors, Mark, entitled Your First Marathon, The Last Word in Long Distance Running. How many people already might have that book? Okay, a lot of you do not. We can cure you of that problem tonight. This book contains everything you need to know about training for and running a marathon, and is available for a suggested donation of only $15, and all proceeds will go to benefit Jack's Hawaii Sports Foundation. Can we give it a hand? Please help us keep his indelible, large footprint and legacy alive in that particular way and in your own creative way, shall we? Right? We're just going to do it in our own way. Where's Donna, by the way? Oh, there she. Darling, you look marvelous. And you look good right up here, too, by the way. Doesn't she? Can you see that for us in the old timers? Come on. But anyway, so this was made in conjunction with Donna by Debbie Turner, just to let you know, a nationally and locally renowned chili cook-off championette, right? So come up and take a look at it a little bit later on. It's got all kinds of autographs, tributes, and remarks honoring both dear Donna and her dear departed Jack. Check that out. Okay, so there's going to be some tears, but it's going to be a lot of fun tonight. And the fun continues now because I'm going to bring to the stage for some remarks his personal memories of his father. Let's welcome Jackson Scaff. Jackson, are you here? Stage left.
Hold on 1 second.
Stand by. Technical difficulties. You bought a veritable tomb there. Huh?
We're gonna take a selfie.
That's real beer, by the way. Yeah.
Everyone say aloha! Yeah. All right, thank you. Okay. Good evening, everyone, and thank you all for coming. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Jack III, also known as Jackson. Just to be clear, this is my dad's hat. It has been around for as long as I can remember. One of the first document sightings is in a 1978 Sports Illustrated article written by dear family friend, unofficial godfather of my brother Kavika, and Olympic marathoner Kenny Moore. Oh yeah. I'm here to share a little bit about my father. The hard part is there are so many ways to do it. After speaking with family, we agreed on a handful of words. He was undeniably passionate, confident, and independent. This applied to how he practiced medicine, how he incorporated running into living a healthy lifestyle, all the way to more eclectic things like beer, barbecue, and of course, chili. And beer again. He showed this passion during his full 87 years. He ran over 50 marathons, a 50-miler, three 312-mile races, also known as a Great Hawaiian Foot Race. He was as passionate as anyone I know about his career. He cared deeply for his patients, many of whom were pilots, a niche he proudly served. He was passionate about saving lives, whether it was via his practice or his mantra on fitness, or a collapsed runner during a race, a choking diner at a restaurant, or an ill passenger on an airplane. His passion was covered in too many articles to mention, even by Hunter S. Thompson in his book, The Curse of Lono, where Thompson was hired by Running Magazine to cover the Honolulu Marathon. Quoting the gonzo journalist on pre-race activities, by 5 o'clock, huge lines had formed in front of the bank of chemical privy set up by Doc Scaff and his people. Pre-race diarrhea is a standard nightmare at all marathons, and Honolulu was no different. What an honor that my dad was remembered for this. He showed his passion as he and my mom cruised and danced and partied across countless countries. They attended chili and barbecue cook-offs, beer festivals, and air races. They enjoyed visiting my family in San Francisco, getting to know their grandchildren, who affectionately called them Monster and Tutu. He loved visiting my brother in Seattle for the annual Summer Beer Festival and visiting Whidbey Island, where he would be stationed. We are thankful that his health allowed him to enjoy his life to the fullest. He was independent, but hardly reckless. He was a fierce thinker, often debating himself quietly, alone at the chopping block in the kitchen, waving his hands around like a madman. He considered every possible angle. He hated to be wrong, but he was always willing to hear the other side of the argument. He also took pride in being correct. When presenting in an event for peers at a medical conference about what was then an unconventional approach to cardiac rehab, another doctor commented, "The roads will be littered with the bodies of your experiment." Nothing brought a bigger wry smile to my dad's face when he would say, "We are still looking for our first one." And did I say he was confident? He would brag that if he were to find himself in an argument about cardiology with none other than God himself, my dad would win. In a fairy tale he wrote many years ago, he claimed his partner at the time, John Wagner, and he invented running. In it, he said, after the early growth of both the Honolulu Marathon as well as the clinic, soon nearly everybody in Honolulu had run a marathon. Clinics sprang up on the mainland and in foreign countries. The biggest fitness boom in history had begun. To top it all off, he added, within a generation, everybody was running. And then do you know what happened? Heart attacks disappeared from the face of the earth, and everyone lived happily ever after. Now, wasn't that a nice story? At the same time, he was practical, whether it was how he approached medicine or how he approached life. From a medical perspective, he believed less is more, don't overtreat, exercise versus medicate. Kavika and I can both attest to not being treated no matter the amount of blood loss, no matter how high the fever. Rub some dirt on it, play with dog hair, let your body do its thing. He approached life the same way. One of his dearest friends, Ralph Pfeifenbarger, passed of congestive heart failure, which ironically is what contributed to my father's passing. I asked him to comment for an online forum that I participated in. On his passing, my dad said practically, in spite of all that has been done in science to increase life expectancy, the death rate is still the same as it is immutable at 1 per person. Regarding immortality, he said, it is via our genes, which we pass through our genes and into someone else's genes, that we achieve immortality. Do this enough and we eventually get grandchildren. And on death, he prophetically said, in essence then, no matter when we die, it is due for the most part to aging. This is as old as we're going to get, and that good health is nothing more than the slowest way to die. As for his theories, he always would defer responsibility to others as being the originator. Instead of saying something was his own thought, he humbly gave others credit and simply referenced and expanded on them. This is what I'm doing now with his comments on Ralph's passing. I couldn't do it better than to use his words, so to borrow once again, death is the greatest triple ball. That is why we save it for last. I guess we were all training for the terminal event. Win it and you get the gold medal. But if you only get silver or bronze, you move into a new age group and get to continue training. Gold medal a la Treasure of Sierra Madre. I don't need no stinking gold medal. And finally, I think we'd all agree that he was personable. He loved hearing and sharing stories, jokes, and facts, often in unique places with complete strangers, only to have those former strangers become some of his closest friends. And in that vein, one thing I ask all of you to try to do before you leave tonight is find someone you have never met, share a simple memory of my father, including where and how you met both Jack and Donna. Who knows, they may turn into a friend for life. As I approach signing off, as he did when paying homage to his dear friend, I share part of a favorite poem of his from Oliver Wendell Holmes. So you see, you are not a dunce, now it happens all at once. Nothing lasts and nothing first, just like bubbles when they burst. And, you know, to be honest, I never really even understood that one, Donna, and maybe you can try to explain it to me. But to add a little of my own flair, I found another poem that seemed appropriate from Ernest Dowson. They are not long, the weeping and the laughter, love and desire and hate. I think they have no portion in us after we pass the gate. They are not long, the days of wine and roses out of a misty dream. Our path emerges for a while, then closes within a dream. Again, thank you for celebrating my dad's life. And as he said in closing to his dear friend, I say to him, Aloha, Jack. Thanks for staying with us as long as you could. Happy trails. Cheers.
Cheers.
Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Jackson Scaff. Is he not a delightful young man? You raised your children right, Donna. Did a little checking on her history, by the way, today, and wanted to find out about the genesis of Jack's, being the founder of our Honolulu Marathon. I said, where was she exactly in that scenery around 72, 73? So I found out the fact is that she was tie-dyeing the original shirts for, I guess, for the first few hundred races back in 1973, almost half a century ago. So, yeah, behind every good woman, a good man, and behind every successful man, a surprised woman. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank Jackson for those remarks about an amazing life, well led. One of the remarks he actually brought to mind something that you may not have known Jack shared with me on the side one day. He said that birthdays are actually good for your health. You know why? The more you have, the longer you live. It's true. It's true. Yeah. So, yeah. He had some drinking jokes from, it's a kind of a warning actually for you singles out there. Of course, he's an outstanding example of a family man. But for the singles out there, he had told a warning through one of his famous poems and limericks. Did you hear that one? The face that over cocktails seems so sweet, may not look so hot over shredded wheat. In other words, Jack isn't there. Okay. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, in case you weren't at the Elks Lodge, where I had the privilege of being, thanks to Connie Comiso and company, one of the other of the many awardees, some of whom are here tonight to pay tribute to Jack, where you're going to hear from the legend himself coming back to life right there on the big screen. If you wouldn't mind looking stage right, we've got Lori and Jordan queuing up Jack's acceptance speech, again, from the recent inaugural Hawaii Running Hall of Fame induction banquet at the Elks Lodge, May 20th, 2022. Please take it away.
Well, it's truly an honor to be here today and to see all of you and all that has been accomplished in long distance running and to see the worthy achievements. I stand truly humbled by those who have come up here, and those of you at least that know to me, it gives me chicken skin. I would never expect to stand in your shoes, and I'm very proud to have been able to accomplish and bring running to the forefront, not only of Hawaii, but the United States and the world in general. When I started my fellowship in internal medicine cardiology at the University of California, Irvine, in 1963, we were a very active group of cardiac fellows, and we had the first successful cardiac resuscitation that occurred in Southern California. And we were known as the jump starters. And we gave a lot of publicity. Unfortunately, that person lived with chronic angina for 3 days and then died of underlying heart disease because we didn't know that these people, some of them, needed to have a bypass because that hadn't been invented as well. And so we were really at the forefront. So where do we go from there? Well, we go in a long way. in 1976 to 79, the American Heart Association stated that running has not been recognized to prevent or treat heart disease. Only diet, exercise, and drugs would do that. Therefore, when I was coming through the back door, you realize I was coming through with a burden because I was considered outside. When I came to Honolulu and put my first patient in the cardiac care unit, I discharged them after 21 days. It was taken to peer review because the minimum admission was a month. And then you spend a year in bed. Nowadays, we discharge heart patients 2 to 3 days after bypass surgery, 4 to 5 days, back to work in a month, back to, and maybe a marathon in your first year of training. So, and that's where I got started because I'd been hired as a physician who knew how to take people after a heart attack and get them back into the public. And that was literally the genesis of the Honolulu Marathon Clinic. And then normal people were welcome to attend as well because they probably would need help, if not then, but somewhere down the road. And sure enough, they would show up by the thousands. And so we would have a large group. We were sponsored by Parks and Recreation. If those of you can remember some of the days when we'd have 4,000 runners show up to Kapolei Park just for the marathon clinic, and the police would have to shut the road down all the way out into Diamond Head. It was truly a remarkable experience. Nowadays, we don't have large clinics like that because everybody knows somebody who's trained and knows how to run properly, and there's lots of running material available. The first year at the Honolulu Marathon, the Pacific Run Honolulu Marathon, we had 5 heart attack patients that we ran. The first to finish was Val Velasco, and we had 4 others. And we named him the first American with a heart attack to complete a marathon, and with that took him to run the Boston Marathon. And he was subsequently due named. With some degree of chagrin, he came up because I'd known him quite well as a piano player, and I'd spent a lot of time with him. And he came up and said, "Dr. Scaff, I'm not the first American with a heart attack to complete a marathon." I said, "What?" He said, "No, I'm a green card, and I'm Filipino." So I was faced, either we could go look for the second one, we had 4 others, and certainly one of them would be an American citizen. Or we could pick up and move to the Philippines and start over there and say, but he elected to be the first American where he stands today. We are the runningest state in the nation, and the races have changed. I know that the fast runners sometimes worry because they see the slower runners at the back of the pack, but the back of the pack is what pays the bills. And nowadays, they're the ones that provide the impetus. After all, if you have a mother who goes out and runs with her child at the age of 7 or 8, and the kid shows interest in long distance running, she probably will support that. And that builds the base so that we'll have more good runners at the base and all the way up as they work their way up. And so we have a lot going for us here, and we will continue to do that. And it's something that needs to be duly recognized. For example, back when we had the first Honolulu Marathon, we had only had 15 or 20 women runners. Now the field, the marathons throughout the United States, nearly half of them are over half women. That means we have races with 5 to 10,000 women starting. That's amazing. It's just unbelievable. If you could sit in the time capsule and go back and say, this is going to happen because we came to Honolulu and started a marathon, I just said, no way. I'd pick up my shirt and I'd run into the corner and I'd just disappear. I said, this isn't going to happen. But it has happened, and it's people like you that made it happen. So all I can do is thank you. Thank you for your support. Thank you for your support from the top to the bottom. We'll be down in the clinic on Sundays if you have somebody that's thinking of starting. I hope Carol Kai continues her great Aloha run. That's a good run race for beginners. There are a lot of other great events that PAC puts on good races. Just remember, as we start showing up with thousands of people, the cars start to honk their horns. So, thank you very much. Thanks for having me. My name is Jim Branch. By the way, I stood in honorably for Donna Scaff this evening, if you didn't notice. And I've also been asked to pass the trophy to Dr. Scaff, and I do that now.
Give it up for the legend, the man of the hour, the man we're here for, Dr. Jack Scaff. His bride, his widow Donna, is smiling as he's smiling down on you and all of us from heaven to this heaven on earth, as he described it back in 1960 when he said, I got to make this my permanent home. And we've all been so blessed, right? Although the Honolulu Marathon, as we all know, has grown into a world-class race right up there, right, with Boston and London, New York, and whatever. As a professional event, it is known, and is known because of that man, your dear departed husband, as the people's race, is it not? That turned Hawaii, as he said, into the runningest state in the Union. We should all be very proud of that. Thank you, Jack. What a man, what an influence. Amazing. We should all aspire to have that much impact and influence in our lifetime. How about even a tenth of that? I could use that. So, on another note, ladies and gentlemen, I know some of you raised your hand when I asked for a show of hands. Who's been up there to the raucous roundups, or whatever they call them? I've got a remark to make about that. For all of you that visited the Scaff residence, we know that Jack loved having musicians there to entertain his guests. If you stayed long enough, you'd hear groups that mirrored Jack's eclectic tastes. Yeah. And ladies and gentlemen, we shift gears here in tonight's program as you eat, drink, and make merry in tribute and honor to the very merry, but sometimes, as the son said, gruff Dr. Jack Scaff. His contributions, don't you know, ladies and gentlemen, to Hawaii were noticed at the highest level. And that we're going to honor right now. To read proclamations from the Hawaii State House and Senate, I have Mr. Mark Osmond with us tonight. We're going to hear from him. We're going to hear from a gentleman named Boz, as in Boz Skaggs. Wow. Big stuff going on here. And then a new friend of mine just met tonight, Wes Nakama, will read us proclamations from the governor of Hawaii, as well as the mayor of the city and county of Honolulu. Mr. Mark Osmond, would you care to take the stage with this time, please? We'd like to begin with the House and Senate tribute and proclamation to Jack Scaff at this time.
Actually, I was told that I'd be reading like the last proclamations, and that the first 9 paragraphs of each proclamation would have already covered what a great man Jack Scaff was. But I'm going first, and so I'm going to get to read this whole thing. But before that, I'm going to spend a little other time. I wanted to say a few words, and that was that one of the things I loved about Jack was that he could take really serious, weighty matters, like running long-distance marathons, like extending life, like cheating death, and inject a levity to it, or an irreverence to it. And so one example that I wanted to share with everybody here was Jack got up, he had to give a presentation to an august group of ladies. I say that still, ladies? And he started with a joke. And the joke went like this. There was a chicken farmer, and he was having a terrible time getting his chickens to lay. So he went into town, he talked to a man at the feed store, and he said, I have the solution for you. And he sold the farmer a rooster. He said, this is Monsieur Lafitte, and he will solve all of your problems. So I took him home, and sure enough, within just a few days, now I want you to remember, this is Jack talking to this group. Within just a few days, all the hens were laying eggs. But also, all the ducks were laying eggs, all the canaries were laying eggs, the robins were laying eggs, and the rooster, was very active. So the farmer started to worry. he started to think that this wonderful rooster might overexert himself with too much exercise. And sure enough, one day he looked out the window and the rooster is lying in the dirt, his little feet stiff, straight up. And the farmer went, oh my God, this is terrible. Well, the least I can do is give him a decent burial. So he walks out and he leans over Monsieur Lafitte. And before he can say a word, the rooster opens an eye and says, go, allez. If you want to see buzzards, you must play their game. And I guess I wanted to say one other thing that was more serious, and I was able to share it recently with the family. And that was just the observation that to experience great loss and to suffer great loss, you must first have had something great. And we all shared something great. And I am deeply grateful for that experience. So now, let me read the Hawaii State Legislature proclamation. They hereby present this certificate to honor the life and legacy of Dr. Jack H. Scaff Jr MD, cardiologist, pioneer, and runner. Dr. Jack Scaff Jr MD is best known to generations of runners and heart patients as a pioneer in the role of marathon running or walking in cardiac fitness. Born in New York City in 1935, Jack Scaff Jr. attended Seton Hall School of Medicine in Jersey City. And after completing his internal medicine fellowship in cardiology at Long Beach Memorial Hospital, Jack Scaff accepted a position as a cardiologist with the Honolulu Medical Group. Recognized as a father of the now world-renowned Honolulu Marathon, first run in December 1973 as the Rim of the Pacific Run, Dr. Scaff's original interest in holding a marathon in Hawaii began with his early work as a cardiologist and his research and collaboration with other cardiologists, including Dr. John Wagner in Honolulu and physicians from across the United States and Canada. It was their belief that exercise could reduce cardiovascular risk factors and that running patients allowed them to engage in beneficial steady state exercise. Now, I am going to skip down to the end because we all know, right? We all know everything about Jack Scaff. We can all get up and testify to his amazing contributions and the extension of life he has helped effect for tens of thousands of people and beyond Honolulu. So down to the last paragraph. The 31st Legislature of the State of Hawaii hereby respectfully honors the life, leadership, accomplishments, and exceptional legacy of Dr. Jack H. Scaff Jr. MD, celebrates his contributions to the life, well-being, and spirit of our community, and the health and fitness of thousands of people touched through the power of training, exercise, and running, and expresses its aloha and deepest condolences to his family and friends.
Thank you, Mr. Mark Osmond, a dual citizen. You can take the boy out of Hawaii, right, Mark? But you can't. Well, can I call you dual citizen, Mark? I mean, I'm in California. You got a stake here. We're gonna claim you. Yeah. Yeah. Welcome back. Right on. That was very touching, especially the humor. No tribute to Jack Scaff is complete without his incredible sense of humor, and you all reflect that. Boz, are you ready? You've got some wonderful, wise words to share with us. The customary perfunctory lay first. Give it up for your friend and mine, Brother Schmidt today. Boz, take it away. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Well, I'll keep this brief for everyone, but you know, Jack was the pod father, not only the father of the Honolulu Marathon, but father to many of us, brother to some, friend to all, and probably the best thing that Jack ever conveyed was that you know, in his afterlife, he would like to be reincarnated as Donna Scaff's next husband. So without further ado, this the council of the city and county of Honolulu, honoring and remembering Jack Scaff MD FACSM, which I believe is the Federation for something in sports medicine. You know, you got to get an MD to even know all these acronyms. But anyway, founder of the Honolulu Marathon Association, on his lifetime service to the community, the Honolulu City Council takes great pride in recognizing citizens who have dedicated their lives in the service of their communities. These individuals go above and beyond to improve our lives and leave behind a legacy of service that will endure for generations. One such individual is Jack H. Scaff Jr MD FACSM, and he is the founder and former president of the Honolulu Marathon Association. So therefore, on behalf of the people of the city and county of Honolulu, the council hereby celebrates and honors Jack Scaff Jr MD on his lifetime of service throughout Honolulu and in Hawaii. The council further extends its warmest aloha and prayers to his wife Donna Scaff, sons Jack III and Kavika, daughter-in-law Julie, granddaughters Margaret and Emma, brother Walter, sister-in-law Carol, sister Ann, in remembrance of his extraordinary life. Signed, Carol Fukunaga, introducer, Tommy Waters, chair, dated 1 November 2022. Aloha.
Mahalo Boz. I'm going to remember his remarks for a lot of reasons, but just when you think you've heard, well, you can't hear enough original Jack Scaffisms. But that romantic line about that his greatest wish, Mark, that you shared, right? That he shared too about wanting to come back as her next husband. Wow. Does anybody else's spouse feel that way with the spouse? Does anyone? You don't look sideways, but it's kind of a generic question. Yeah. Anyway, so the readings go on, ladies and gentlemen. We have a very interesting gentleman here. Went to grade school all the way through graduation time at Iolani School, don't you know, with Jackson, who's going to complete her program tonight. But Wes Nicole I just met tonight, and he's going to read the proclamation from none other than the Governor Ige of the state of Hawaii. So please give him a warm Jack Scaff Memorial welcome to Wes Nicole. Wes, thank you.
You want it on the mic stand or you want it? Oh. Do you want the mic stand? Thank you.
Okay, mahalo, Joe. Used to listen to this guy give surf reports on the radio all the time, Surfer Joe. Finally got to meet him in person. The governor did send his regrets. There was a conflict. We did invite him and his wife, the First Lady. Unfortunately, they had another previously scheduled commitment for tonight, but he did send his regrets on not being here. But I did want to read the letter that he did write for tonight. And it says, in memoriam of Dr. Jack Scaff, May 27, 1935 to September 26, 2022. It is with a heavy heart that I offer my sincere condolences to the family and friends of the late Dr. Jack Scaff, to his wife Donna, to his sons Jackson III, Kavika, to his granddaughters Maggie and Emma, his brother Walter, sister Ann. Please accept my deepest sympathy for your loss. Widely recognized as the father of the Honolulu Marathon, Dr. Scaff was a central figure in the creation and operation of the inaugural Honolulu Marathon in December 1973 and led its early growth In 1985, he partnered with Carol Kai, who was here tonight, and Buck Bakwa to organize the first Great Aloha Run, which has grown into perhaps the most popular road race in Hawaii, attracting thousands of participants every year, finishing right here on this field for the cause of charity donations. Dr. Scaff also served the local, national, and international medical community as a well-respected cardiologist who proved that jogging and marathon training can help heart patients, including those who recovered from heart attacks. Dr. Scaff leaves behind a tremendous legacy that unites thousands of people from across the world each year. To Dr. Scaff's ohana and friends, I join each of you in bidding him a fond aloha and wish you strength and comfort in the days ahead. With deepest sympathy, David Y. Ige, Governor, State of Hawaii. I also have a proclamation from Mayor Blangiardi, who I'm sure did his best. He really wanted to be here, and knowing him, he made every effort to come, but you know, a mayor's schedule is pretty busy. So I'm going to go ahead and read a proclamation from him, and I'll try not to, as you know, Mark said, be repetitive, but this is what it looks like. It's pretty in-depth. But this is a proclamation from the City and County of Honolulu. Whereas Dr. Jack Scaff Jr., born in New York and raised in New Jersey, graduated from University of Medicine and Dentistry at New Jersey, served in the Peace Corps before residing in Hawaii. And whereas Dr. Scaff is widely regarded as the father of the Honolulu Marathon, whereas in March 1974, the cardiologist started and led the Honolulu Marathon Clinic, which has educated thousands of residents on the health benefits of exercise and distance running, and to train and run as a team to complete the 26.2-mile journey. Whereas from its modest beginnings as a community event for local amateurs, the Honolulu Marathon consistently attracts thousands of entrants, along with elite professionals vying for lucrative prize purse. And whereas unlike other marathons, the Honolulu Marathon has no time limit for entrants to complete the course and is one of Honolulu's major sporting events with a major economic impact. Whereas Dr. Scaff's many honors include being named a Fellow of the American College of Sports Medicine, the first inductee into the Honolulu Marathon Hall of Fame, as well as a member of the Hawaii Sports Hall of Fame, which hopefully you got to see in the tunnel leading out here. And also recognized as one of the founders of the Great Aloha Run. Whereas Dr. Jack Scaff will be honored by friends, family, colleagues, and running community at a memorial service here tonight. Now I, therefore, Rick Blangiardi, Mayor of the City and County of Honolulu, do hereby proclaim November 1, 2022 to be Dr. Jack Scaff Day in Honolulu. In honor of this passionate, caring, and beloved kama'aina, whose accomplishments, leadership, and legacy the Honolulu Marathon and the Honolulu Marathon Clinic has contributed greatly to our community, and on behalf of the City and County of Honolulu, I extend heartfelt condolences to his family. On this first day of November 2022 in Honolulu, Hawaii, Rick Blangiardi, Mayor of the City and County of Honolulu. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Governor. Compliments of Mr. Wes Nakama. That Iolani training did him good. You ever notice that even though the parents spent all that money to put on Iolani like that, and the kids still tell people, oh, I read Iolani. Is that good English? You ever notice? Nobody questions that in Hawaii. I don't know what it is about Hawaii. But they got a lot going on, and we appreciate their sentiments. I was looking forward to the mayor being here tonight, but he's got a lot going on. A lot of people don't know. We may be the runningest state in the union, right? We got a lot of records here in Hawaii. That's one of them, right? We're the health state. We're the southernmost state. We got the tallest mountain on earth. We got the biggest mountain on earth. We got the southern point of America. But did you know that we have the largest county in the nation that he's responsible for? It's huge. It's Honolulu, it's Oahu, and it's all of Papahanaumokuakea, all the Leeward Islands. I was hoping he'd be here tonight too, because a little birdie up there in Curie Atoll said, "Hey, Mayor, remember me?" I'm gonna warm up back. Jackson's next. Let me make a couple remarks in closing, because we're getting ready to close, although the party's gonna go on till 7:30. Food and drinks on till 7:30, okay? Night full of memorable times and incredible memories being shared, and we're encouraging everybody to stick around and to do so. By way of doing so, we want to share stories with the family. They're going to be able to write your scafter thoughts. Get that? I'm only as good as my writers, don't complain. Come on, gang, I laughed when you walked in. Help me out. Anyway, on the cards, passed around by the guest books, okay? So if you need additional papers, get them on the guest book area. Down the words now, let's just be mortally clear, please. Plenty. The middle of the tunnel, right where we came in. Okay, now we're crystal clear as mud. Okay. Write out any memories or thoughts, please, that you would want to share with the family and have them and put them in the collection boxes as you depart in the guest box areas. So thank you for being here, ladies and gentlemen. It's been a wonderful night to close us out. I'm going to bring Jackson back to the stage for the final mahalo and final toast. So get your glasses full. Here he goes. Big round of applause. Let's bring Jackson back. Quite a guy. What an honorable son.
Thank you, Clifford, Joe. All right, how do I do this? Which way?
Okay, just stick it in. Push it in.
Cool. Got it.
Hello.
There's my daughter.
Curry.
Exactly. So, in closing tonight, I first want to begin by thanking Surfer Joe for leading these hosting responsibilities. My family would also like to thank Mayor Blangiardi, Governor Ige, and all the other state legislators and politicians with their kind words, or for their kind words, excuse me. I want to end the formal program by acknowledging the uncountable number of people that helped my father and our family in so many ways. I can't even begin to list the individual names, but you know where you fit into our lives, whether it was the people that played an integral part in having this celebration come together, the people that helped my dad and my mom manage the day-to-day struggles that he encountered during the later years in life, those that helped build and maintain his wonderful home that he loved so much, his patients, pilots, nurses, and fellow physicians that made his practice successful, the writers, publishers, and media types that helped carry his message to the public, those that organized and ran the wonderful parties or events he had in his home, like the chili cook-offs, the carbo loading parties, the Honolulu Marathon Clinic ad hoc planning meetings, etc. I'd like to thank Mayor Frank Fossey, who in 1973 wrote a letter stating he wanted the Honolulu Marathon to be the Boston of the Pacific. I'd also like to thank, obviously, those that helped so many of the races, like the Honolulu Marathon, the Great Aloha Run, the Great Hawaiian Foot Race, the Great Trans Ko'olau Trek, the Jingle Bell Run, the Honolulu Marathon Clinic Turkey Trot, the Nike Executive Fitness Half Marathon, the Primo Fun Run, where you run out to the brewery, and the Hawaii Kai Festival of Running. To those that spread the message through his greatest passion, the Honolulu Marathon Clinic, and to those that had participated, he cherished speaking and working with you, so many of you, promoting good health and individual accomplishment. The dear friends he met in all corners of the world that allowed him to share such amazing stories of travel and adventure, many of whom have traveled across state and even country lines to be here. And of course, his entire family. My wife, Julie, my daughters, Margaret and Emma, who unfortunately had to go back to school today, my brother, Kavika, and last but not least, the love of his life, Donna, who he's been married to for 46 years. I was going to say something about my dad saying Mrs. Scaff's next husband, but someone stole my thunder with that one, so I'm gonna call Boss out. But I think we would all agree that without her love and support, my father never would have been able to accomplish any of this stuff. So Donna, thank you, 100%. Again, thank you all from the bottom of our hearts. Please enjoy the rest of the evening. Share stories with both old and new friends. Get home safely, and most of all, run 1 hour a day, 3 times a week. Thank you. Cheers. Appreciate you all coming out. It was really wonderful to see you all. Thank you again. Mahalo.
Yes, indeed, ladies and gentlemen, thus we conclude the formal portion of tonight's program here at Aloha Stadium in the Aloha State as we bid aloha oi to the late great Jack Scaff. However, I must stand corrected. You notice I'm standing and I'm correcting myself. Guess what? The bad news is that I misspoke. The good news is that the beer is on till 8 o'clock, not 7:30. Come on. What's the matter for you? Come on, show some signs of life there. My God, if that doesn't make you happy, I don't know what is. Ben Franklin said, after all, that beer is proof that God loves us and wants us to enjoy yourself. So here's a toast to you, buddy. Meanwhile, Al Ka'ai and company will take us out, right? Al Ka'ai and friends bring us out the rest of the evening. My name is Joe Type. We'll see you around. God bless you. And remember, don't do anything I wouldn't do, but if you do, do it twice. So.